Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and boy do we have a lot of stuff going on right now. Get ready, strap in. Nick Burafedo from Link2, one of my sponsors, says our PolySign supply is running out. So right now we've lowered our minimum investment to $5,000 so more members can get in or top off their positions. You can go to Link2 in the top of the description of my video. Click on the link, tell them DAI sent you. Now, eGreg Crypto, he says XRP bad scenario. I've been asked why I don't chart the downside of XRP because I have a high conviction in XRP for the long run. The downside is limited, but the upside is unlimited. Any purchase below $1 is once in a lifetime opportunity. Below is the bad scenario. It looks to me like his bad scenario, I don't know if he's saying that the bad scenario is way down here or if the bad scenario, one possible bad scenario, I think that this right here is the bad scenario. That's from just my way of thinking. But look, nobody knows. But bottom line is, I'll be accumulating in the bad scenarios just like I will in the good ones. I accumulated some XRP this week. All right. James Phelan, XRP community, the list of amicus briefs filed by the November 18th deadline. So these have all been filed, and there's only one that was actually filed on behalf of the SEC. The other one, this Accredify, it looks like did not meet the deadline. I don't know if that means they can't do it now or what. One of the individual did not meet his deadline. Wait, it is the 18th, right? What's today's date? I'm looking. It's the 19th. Okay. So we're past all those deadlines, but that's got to make an impression on the judge. Now, here we go. This was just a suggestion. I said, hey, CNBC, Andreessen Horowitz, Sam Bankman-Fried may be looking for a job. You hired Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman, may be worth an interview. I think that's worth casting out there. Now, John Deaton made a very good point here. He says, I'm not a VC, but before a company like FTX reaches a valuation of $1 billion, let alone 32, wouldn't a VC ask for the names of the board of directors as a part of one's due diligence? Isn't that on a basic DD checklist or something? And I said, of course it is, John. It's almost like the investors overlooked the basics because they knew of a bigger plan. Reminds me of the same thinking around ETHgate. Many of the same people were involved. True story, folks. Watch this. Remember, same people who hired Jay Clayton as a contributor instead of looking into ETHgate are the very people who helped promote and create Sam Bankman-Fried. There's a lot more to this, folks. This was just like ETHgate. I said all along, this was coordinated. It wasn't any one facet. It was the traditional media. It was the crypto media. It was the VCs. It was the talking heads that would go and tell the world that they just don't understand XRP and shorted it and all that. It was all coordinated. This FTX thing was no different. Watch this.
What is this exactly? Doesn't quite sound like a business. It sounds like a hybrid of some kind.
Right. Almost like a coordinated mission was going on.
Not in a reassuring way. Now, some of this was happening in secret, but a lot of it was happening right out in public, right in front of the news media. And of course, a lot of them knew Sam Bankman-Fried because he was sending a lot of the money. And when he wasn't, he was desperate for the publicity they could provide. Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of more magazines than Madonna. So they probably should have been asking questions about his business, but none of them did. They promoted him. Watch.
They call him the JP Morgan of crypto, right?
Yeah, the Michael Jordan of crypto, if you will. So why should you care about a floppy-haired, vegan, fidget-spinning crypto billionaire who occasionally sleeps on a beanbag chair? During the so-called crypto winter, the 30-year-old CEO has been referred to as crypto's white knight.
JP Morgan of this generation, Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. Is he the Jay Gould of our era, or is he the JP Morgan of our era?
I think it's yet to be determined. Is he Vanderbilt?
He could be. Is he Harriman?
Possibly.
Is he the credit mobilier scandal?
See Carnegie?
If he gives a lot of libraries, he is.
And then there was this. This came out. Now, remember, Maxine Waters heads the Finance Committee of the United States of America, folks. She's also the same woman who has never brought up ETHgate, never said a word about it, never called for any investigation, nothing, okay? Not just her, but all of them on the, none of the congressmen ever called for one. Now, and remember, folks, make no mistake, ETHgate's bigger, and I'll show you by the end of this video. ETHgate is bigger than all of them. ETHgate swallows FTX whole. FTX at times almost feels like a distraction away from ETHgate to me. But ETHgate swallows them whole. In this clip, this is when Sam Bankman-Fried went to Congress, because he gets to go wherever he wants, including the White House. She doesn't just wave by, she blows him a kiss. Unbelievable. Yeah, he's such a wonderful person. She's blowing him a kiss. Now, then we've got this. Yesterday, Elizabeth Holmes from, what was it called? Well, I'm drawing a blank on what her, Theranos was her company. She's the one that scammed people out of billions with this fake Theranos. Fascinating documentary. I can't remember if I think I watched it on Hulu. Great documentary, or a docudrama. But Jim Cramer, who's always there when all the you know what hits the fan, he's there to point the finger and tell everybody, just these people were bad. But he's also the guy who's there to promote them while things were good. He's the same guy. These same people just seem to keep popping up, helping all of these frauds, and then acting like they're an innocent bystander in the thing later on. So here he says, let me be clear. I think Holmes deserved every bit of that sentence and more. She was one of the worst examples I've seen of financial criminal who put thousands of lives in jeopardy just for the money. Well, here, and I said, and you propped her up just like you did Sam Bankman-Fried. So here is, he was calling Sam Bankman-Fried in that clip I played you a minute ago, the next JP Morgan or Vanderbilt. Well,
just one last question. To me, it's reasonable to compare you, I usually don't do this, to Steve Jobs and what he did for computing. I regard you as a visionary, next generation person. Is this the kind of ridiculous pressure that nobody...
Are you noticing a pattern yet, folks? Are you noticing a problem, United States of America? I am. Well, looks like, the House just switched over to Republicans. Now, I don't get into politics on this channel, but if politics is what means that they're going to actually start looking into some of these people, I'm all for it, okay? So Warren Davidson said this yesterday.
Whether it was Jay Clayton or Gary Gensler, they told everyone in the space, come talk to the SEC and work out your deal. What people found out was there was no escape path. Once you come in and talk to the SEC, you're in endless discovery. And at this point, it's really hard to see how the SEC hasn't engaged in selective enforcement. I mean, they were collaborating closely with, FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried, and so was the CFTC. Meanwhile, they're going after Kim Kardashian. Yeah. You're like, really? Yeah. You got Kardashian, but you didn't get this FTX fraud?
Exactly. Now, this popped up yesterday afternoon, folks. That I told you that ETHgate is much bigger than Sam Bankman-Fried, okay? Much bigger. Well, actually, they might be linked in some kind of way. But ultimately, this thing, all roads lead to communist China, folks. Watch this. Joining Maria Bartiromo's Brian Costello guy, and remember that name because he'll come back up. Joining Maria Bartiromo to discuss specific CCP threat, retired Colonel Derek Harvey, former National Security Council member and House Intel Chief Investigator, will join me for shocking revelation. Okay? And then there was this. This Sunday, whistleblower will rip the lid off the Department of Justice, SEC, congressional committees, all looking the other way as CCP co-opted dim donor venture capital firm breaks U.S. laws helping PRC strategic rise through U.S. tech and investment. Well, they say Dem donor. They're linking Democrats. This is not just the Democrats, folks. This is not just the Democrats. Jay Clayton came from the other side, folks. Okay? This is both parties. Both parties, and I believe both parties in one way or another have been compromised. Not all, but a lot, I think. I think that's what we're talking about here. And look at this. Perrianne Boring is hooked up in Washington, D.C., and she happens to tweet this the same day. Senator Elizabeth Warren doesn't like Bitcoin for the same reasons communist China doesn't like Bitcoin. They can't control it. It's all about power. I find it interesting that she would make a comment about communist China on the same day that supposedly a whistleblower is about to blow the lid off of this whole thing on Maria Bartiromo's show on Sunday at 10 a.m. You might not want to miss that. Folks, make no mistake, this has ETHgate written all over it. Remember the guy's name that said it, Brian Costello, because I'm about to show you him again. Watch this. And he said he's going to be on Maria. See, that's him right there. He's going to be on with, this is the lead Republican guy in the House now after the elections. And all of these people, folks, you know what it looks like to me? Looks like to me that they've all been sitting on the sidelines watching all this ETHgate stuff unfold, and now they're about to lower the freaking boom. Now look, check this out. Do you remember this? I put this together back April 2022. I called it, remember when Brad Garlinghouse said the United States is effed on stage? Courtesy of Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton. 2014, Bill Hinman, Jay Clayton take Alibaba public. 2016, SEC investigation into Alibaba. 2017, Hinman and Clayton lead the SEC. 2017, U.S. denies Alibaba deal to MoneyGram. 2018, Hinman Ethereum free pass speech. But it also gives Bitcoin a free pass, don't forget that. 2019, Ripple announces partnership with MoneyGram. 2019, Hinman launches the SEC investigation into Ripple. And also, don't forget, a while back, Eleanor Terrett, she said that she had heard that Jay Clayton had come in and was going to do a settlement, and that Hinman had already quit the SEC and came back to make sure the Ripple lawsuit was filed. Don't forget that. 2020, Clayton files the lawsuit against Ripple. Clayton and Hinman leave the SEC. Okay? Watch this video. This is literally Bill Hinman. He's got a look on his face when Alibaba's going public like, I did this.
We're ready to launch.
I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm going to kind of forward through it. This is Alibaba going public. There's Bill Hinman right there. I want you to look at the look on his face. That is a extremely cocky look of look what I did. Okay? And then let me see if there's any other ones. Watch this. Now, this is the part where they're talking about MoneyGram.
The digital payments arm of Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba has offered to buy the U.S.-based MoneyGram for $880 million. MoneyGram has agreed, but the deal needs regulatory approval from the U.S. Committee on Foreign Investment. MoneyGram is the second largest provider of money transfer service in the world. Ant Financial has more than 630 million users. The CEO of Ant Financial says if the merger succeeds, it will bring people around the world greater access, security, and
so Ant Financial is the company that owns Alibaba.
To remit
holding
funds.
Company, I guess.
The first high-profile Chinese deal blocked under Donald Trump. On Tuesday, a U.S. panel rejected the $1.2 billion sale of money transfer company MoneyGram to Ant Financial, owned by top execs of Chinese tech titan Alibaba. The panel cited worries over national security on data that may be used to identify U.S. citizens. The deal's collapse is a blow for Alibaba head Jack Ma, who aimed to expand Ant's reach abroad as competition gets fierce over payment services in China.
All right, remember this? U.S. intelligence head asked the SEC to investigate Chinese control over crypto. There's Brad Garlinghouse. They partner with MoneyGram. And then you got all right. So here's Brad Garlinghouse. Remember when he said this? Watch this.
Introduced myself earlier. I'm a kid from Kansas who, wears red, white, and blue on the 4th of July. The United States, look, I'm sure this is probably being streamed and recorded, but I'll do something I rarely do. Disclaimer. I rarely do this when I'm being recorded. The United States is fucked.
Okay. Now, remember this. This is from J.P. Morgan's. This is a video about their blockchain, what they've created on blockchain on their website. Check it out. You'll never guess who they're partnered with.
To monetize
on their
systems team built
their next generation payments network. Look who they're partnered with.
Payments network that powers instant transfer and clearing of multi-bank, multi-currency assets 24/7.
Oh, look, they're partnered with Ant Financial. They even say it.
Established partier with DBS and Temasek.
Wait a minute. Back up.
Assets 24/7. We established partier with DBS and Temasek to help accelerate cross-border.
All right, so they've partnered with Ant Financial. Do you remember this? John Deaton had tweeted this back in March of 2022. 3 months after the Hinman speech, Senator Tom Cotton wrote a letter to Jay Clayton. Recent statements from the SEC officials about some digital currencies may have had the unintended effect of tilting the playing field in favor of platforms heavily influenced by China. There it is right there. Now, this was sent to Jay Clayton before he sued Ripple, folks. Then there was this from John Deaton. On November 21st, 2019, Chinese mining rig Canaan launched its initial public offering sale of $90 million worth of U.S. shares. Attorney Lin, one of Hinman's partners at Simpson Thacher in China, wanted to meet with Hinman 3 months before the IPO. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Look who replies to John Deaton. Brian Costello, the same guy who's going on Maria Bartiromo's show on Sunday. He says, awful. Lynn from ST was dealing with Hinman's actual SEC when they met in August 2019 related to Canaan. Just wow, game over. The William Hinman conflict of interest. And then there was this. Do you remember this tweet? China, this is from back in July 2022. China tried to build a network of informants inside the U.S. Federal Reserve, a report by the GOP Senate reveals. And I said, wonder if this was the only agency China tried to build a network in. 10 o'clock a.m. on Fox Business on Sunday. You might want to see that one. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family, 10 o'clock, Fox Business, Maria Bartiromo. Maybe we can forgive her for all her past sins if this segment's what I think it is. Thanks for listening.